native from Wishick, North Dakota. My friend Mark Pfeifle is on the Common Sense Club and the Scott Hennon Show. How you doing, Mark?
Hello, Scott. I'm doing very, very well. So I mentioned to a couple of people today, they said, well, what are you going to do today? And I said, well, I'm going to go on with chairman of the Common Sense Club, Scott Hennon, because he has a new book coming out. And he mentioned me in the book, so he's going to have me on. And to a person, without skipping a beat, they said, how much did you pay, Scott?
That is so cruel. That's so Washington-like. That's
no respect.
Unbelievable. It's that vicious Washington sort of Beltway cocktail party mentality at work. Further evidence you got to move back to North Dakota. You're home. You know what I'm saying?
I am the Rodney Dangerfield of the Common Sense Club.
Yeah, we just don't we do not play by those rules here in the heartland of America, as you well know. But it is, I think, a great story that you have. And by the way, you ought to write a book, and then maybe you'll get some more respect because you have many great stories. My favorite among them being how you played a role in the global communications to turn public opinion around on the war in Iraq, something that was very instrumental to President George W. Bush, but more importantly to our victories to date in Iraq. So is a Pfeifle book in the offing at some point?
It could be. Hook me up with your editor. Let's go.
Exactly right. Well,
the thing is, I'd actually have to sit down and read. I have to sit down and write it. And so I'm online. And I'm checking out the Scott Hennon book, the Grassroots book, which everybody should buy. And I go onto Amazon.com, and there is one person selling your book, Scott, as a used copy for $250. Did you see this?
There is not. How could they sell a used copy when the book's not even out yet, for crying out loud?
I don't know, but I just first of all, it's not me. I'm not regifting it. I swear, it's not. But you got to think, this is the free market at its wonderfulness, which is if you can get $250 for Scott's Grassroots book, go for it.
Exactly right. I love it. You can pre-order, by the way, and I did go to my Kindle and download it and pay for it already. I don't have the copy yet because you can't get it until July 5th, but it's already pre-ordered, and I love Kindle, so I just had to say, I can't believe that I'm looking at ScottHennen right there at Kindle. It really is a humbling experience. But one of the reasons I did it is just because of how many stories inspired me, and yours is that story. Here's a kid from Wishick, North Dakota, who shares a love for the radio business like I do, and I talk about that in the book, who calls me up one day as a radio talk show host on then KCNN Radio in Grand Forks and says, hey, Scott, would you come talk to my communications class? And I said, sure. And I get there and I quickly figure out this kid's a conservative like me, and by the way, it's 90 to 2 in this room that we're in here. I get the professors and the other kids in the room and everything else, but that sparked a friendship that then led to Mark volunteering his services during the flood of 97 to say, hey, I'll take the overnight shift, I'll do anything, and did a great job with helping us with flood coverage, and coincidentally that and some money from the Angel got him to Washington, D.C. and sparked an incredible career. So it's a friendship that goes back a long time. But it's also a neat story that a University of North Dakota Fighting Sioux alum, a kid from Wishick, North Dakota, can go on to serve the 43rd President of the United States and help shape public opinion on something as important as the men and women of the United States Armed Forces winning the war in Iraq. So I love your story, and that's why you're in the book, my friend.
Well, thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. Yeah, it did. It started out in that flood of 97. It continued to the flood in Fargo in 2009. A lot of the Win Back Washington work that we did last year, and it has been just a wonderful experience of knowing and working with you, and I've learned a lot from you over the years. And really, it's the values that you pick up in Wishick and in Mayville, where I went to high school, are a lot of the things that still we use today in our work, the way we treat other people, our ethics, our work ethic, and all those things that I see in the grassroots of America, and I see a lot of possibilities in the future. I'm still waiting to be invited to golf with President Clinton, or with President Obama. I think that he's going on vacation, I guess. So it's just me here in Washington, D.C. I think everybody else is left at this point.
Call John Boehner. He figured out a way to get an invite. You might too. The chapter, by the way, that I talk a little bit about Mark, I talk about Mark a few places in the book, certainly in what he's done with our military and communications. as it pertains to our military is something that's often misunderstood, but in my view, very important because telling their story and through them and letting them share their story, something we've had a chance to participate with Mark's help in of our incredible men and women in the armed forces is incredible. So we tell some of that in the book. There's also a chapter called "Holding the Media Accountable," and really, Mark. Whether it's a Republican Party, whether it's communication operatives, whatever it is, the Tea Party movement has probably been the biggest ally in holding the media accountable, which is why they were so badly maligned and continue to be maligned by the media. But, the Tea Party movement, the grassroots, have really been able to accomplish something the party establishment couldn't. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. President Obama really handed conservatives their lunch in 2008, and we took a lot of the tactics that the Obama campaign really found a way to shine a light on, and the conservative and the Tea Party movement and the center right and libertarians have really banded together in a way in 2010 that had not been seen before. It completely caught Washington off guard. When first the healthcare forums were taking place in around the country, Washington was just, what is going on here? We don't understand this. This must be manufactured. This must be AstroTurf. And the reality was, it was just a lot of people were fed up with high energy prices, with unemployment rates which are not going down, which is foreclosure rates which continue to be abysmal, and all of those factors. And then you add on to that the national debt and the budget deficits, and it has really created an opportunity for everyday people to get involved in their government, to make a difference, whether it's their local school board or their county commission or their state. An example is I told the Fargo Forum earlier this year is when I first came to Washington, we could have held our North Dakota expat Republican meetings in a phone booth near Union Station. We could have, and we still would have had room left over. But what the grassroots did specifically in North Dakota to bring about the elections of Congressman Berg and Senator Hoeven was unbelievable. And a lot of that goes to the people that are watching us and listening to us right now that did make their voices heard, that did say enough is enough. We're not going to take it anymore. And they made their voices heard at town hall meetings. They worked with their friends and their neighbors. They gave a couple of dollars to a candidate who they believed in, and they elected them to Washington. And now I can tell you that there is a Republican conservative group, and instead of a phone booth, with at least to reserve a dining room someplace, which is very good because it's brought a whole new troop of people into town.
It sure did, and you're absolutely right. I don't think that, quite honestly, I'd put this on the Tea Party movement, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, don't get anywhere near the credit they should be, because when we're talking about Marco Rubio in Florida, or we're talking about Rand Paul and his victory, or some of the other victories around the country, Ron Johnson, Wisconsin was a big Tea Party win as an example, but I don't think North Dakotans, having scared Byron Dorgan out of the race and run a 9-term incumbent in Earl Pomeroy to defeat by 10, 11 points, or what happened in Minnesota with 2 legislative houses changing hands, or in South Dakota with a conservative Democratic member of the House being turned away in favor of Kristi Noem, a rock star of the freshman movement. You have an incredible record of success by this conservative awakening, this Tea Party movement electorally. That really is unmatched, or certainly right up there with some of these other stories we've heard about around the country. Really, they have a success record, don't they?
This is when you know that you're getting the other side off their game. I'm reading the Say Anything blog by my friend Rob Port, who is struggling a lot with his family and mine, and our prayers are with him. He has a post on there, Scott, that the White House has complained to MSNBC that MSNBC is not having enough pro-Obama liberals on their network. I'm thinking, isn't this a little bit like the seafood industry screaming at Red Lobster for not selling enough shrimp cocktail? I mean, really, every time I turn on that network, they've got one liberal or the other talking about President Obama and the tingly feelings that he gives. And it's just, when you're making a difference, when your voice is being heard, when you're communicating effectively with a powerful, persuasive message and a call to action to change your government, to make it more accountable, to rein in government spending, to rein in the bureaucracy, to make the government work for you instead of the other way around, and you know that you're getting under their skin when something like that happens.
It is an amazing story. More with my friend Mark Pfeifle, who is in the book, Grassroots, a Common Sense Action Agenda for America. We're going to talk about some of Mark's efforts on the global communication front when we come back, and also what it was like to run communications for a Republican Party convention in New York City at a time of war. Amazing story. He's in the book, A Grassroots, a Common Sense Action Agenda for America, that you can buy Tuesday. $250 is all for a used copy at Amazon.com right now. Still can't believe that. More when we continue on the Common Sense Club and the Scott Hannon Show. And we are back on the Common Sense Club and the Scott Hannon Show, counting down to a 4th of July holiday weekend. Hope you have a safe, happy, and blessings-filled 4th of July holiday weekend celebrating the freedom of this great country. As I do in the book, Grassroots, a Common Sense Action Agenda for America. Yours truly, the author, a forward by our friend Carl Rove, is going to join us next week on the Common Sense Club. Great forward, too, respecting the Tea Party movement. I think actually one of the better things written about the genius of the Tea Party movement by Carl. So check it out, and details on how you can win a free autographed copy at scotthannon.com. Just like us on our new Facebook fan page, and you're in to win. Chatting with Mark Pfeifle, Wishick, North Dakota native, who rose to be the highest-ranking North Dakotan in the Bush administration until Ed Schaefer screwed that up and went in as Secretary of Agriculture, but nonetheless someone that was...
Hey,
what's that?
If you're going to be replaced by somebody, it should be Ed Schaefer.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly right. I want to talk about your time at the Pentagon, at the National Security Council, in shaping public opinion globally, global communications efforts on the war in Iraq. Bring us inside why that was so necessary and what was at stake in that effort, Mark.
Well, Scott, I became kind of that guy that went from issue to issue. Some say it's because I couldn't hold a job. Others said it was because I wanted to go where the action was. That was probably more the reality of it. I had ran the president's Social Security reform effort in 2005, and Hurricane Katrina happened, and it really put a lot of the domestic agenda aside, and I went and worked for FEMA for a while, put my FEMA hat back on, just like the floods of '97. And after I had finished up at the FEMA headquarters in Washington, Iraq was on the front pages of the newspapers. Our policy was not working. Congress was ready to retreat. The American people were dissatisfied with our policy, and they said, "Hey, Mark, how would you like to go to the White House and work on that issue?" And I said, "Sure, why not? I'll give it a run." And it was a lot of the things that I had learned and that a lot of great people had taught me on how to communicate with people to get your issue across, and to present factual information that is well sourced and has credible voices that can talk effectively about what our policy was. The president announced the surge of additional 5 brigades and a Marine Expeditionary Unit and an increased amount of diplomacy, both in Iraq and regionally and around the world. And I was just given the enormous opportunity to work on that issue and to work with some of the bravest and most caring and most thoughtful individuals that I've ever had the great honor to work with, and that's members of the United States military and foreign service officers who were in a war zone. And we put together a plan, communications plan, along with the surge that told the story of what was going on and told it to a wide variety of voices and people so we could get our message out.
And bought the time for victory on the ground, which is no small endeavor, ladies and gentlemen, when you think about it. At the time, Republicans were peeling off. I mean, public opinion was going south. Republicans were caving on this issue. That communications effort bought the time. We tell a little bit of that story in the book, and also we're going to have Mark back sometime to talk about, being part of the Republican National Convention, New York City, leading up to the election of 2004. And this is a guy from Wishick, North Dakota that's accomplished so much. But sadly, we are out of time, and you need to read the book to hear more of this incredible story. Mark, God bless you. God bless you, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great 4th of July, okay?
Thank you, Scott. You too.
To be continued. We'll do with more with Mark on this story next week on the launch week for Grassroots, a Common Sense Action Agenda for America. Autographed copy, ScottHannon.com. Check it out. Bye-bye.